It's a surprise upgrade cycle. I mean, that's the reality. You know, for so long we've always talked about, you know, these upgrade cycles, a potential super cycle. And this is a surprise upgrade cycle. And I think especially what we're seeing in China, look, China was a decliner. Now you start to see that increasing year over year. That's something streets coming up in terms of numbers. The New York City cab drivers embarrassing Apple last 6-9 months. So this is a bullish scenario, especially leading into what I believe now will be the year of AI, ultimately a Google partnership for Apple, $75 to $100 a share.
Okay, so let's go back to that. What is Apple's AI strategy going to be or should be, do you think?
Today, it's invisible, right? Today, in the AI party that started at 9 p.m., it's now 10:30 p.m. That party goes to 4 a.m. Cook and Apple, they're on the outside looking behind the velvet ropes. They're looking through the party through the window. But what I believe they're going to do now, once Google won that DOJ suit, that clears the road for them to do a significant Gemini partnership where ultimately the consumer AI revolution goes through Cupertino.
Well, look, we're talking AI spend. We've got to talk Meta because they're the complete opposite of Apple, right? They're just throwing the kitchen sink at AI right now. But Wall Street, are they approving of the spending Meta's doing in that space?
Look, in my opinion, it's a table pounder when that stock sold off yesterday. Because my whole view is this is an AI arms race. You want companies to spend. Now, look, free cash flow earnings obviously gets hit. But the reality is that this is a fourth industrial revolution. And you want all these companies, from Microsoft to Google to Meta to what we see with Amazon. But guess what? They're fueling the AI revolution. That's obviously bullish for NVIDIA, AMD, and others. I love what Meta's doing. I think it's a 4-digit stock. And I think what you're seeing now, it's spreading. Look at Amazon. Finally, Jassy saying, don't forget about us. It just shows and Street continues to underestimate the scope and scale of this fourth industrial revolution.
So, and Alexis, we saw yesterday, Meta, the stock did sell off, but they went out and they sold $30 billion worth of bonds. They had $125 billion demand. When I was doing that business, a $5 or $10 billion deals were monster.
Right.
$30 billion, and I bet you they made 5 phone calls last night and sold that deal out. I bet you that's what happened. Dan, talk to us about Amazon. Boy, that the stock's up 12% pre-market trading here. Talk to us about where they are with their cloud business vis-a-vis Microsoft, vis-a-vis Google. Where's the cloud horizon for Amazon?
Look, for the last few years, right, if you look at the top of that mountain, it's Microsoft and Nadella, and then, of course, Google, what they've been done with GCP, and that's been huge, the re-rating that we've seen with Google. But if you look at Amazon, outside looking in, right? I mean, Jassy, even though he's an AWS guy, really, Anthropic's been the opportunity, underwhelming. Last night, I think it's an inflection point quarter for Amazon. I think this now is going to change the view of Amazon when it comes to the cloud piece. Some of the parts, that's how you get to $340, $350 stock. And this is a very, very important quarter. For the two Mag 7, if you think about Apple and Amazon, both sort of like they're sitting at the table by the kitchen, like at the wedding, like with the random friends. Like they get put at that random table. They want to be at the cool table. Now they're there.
Look, there's so much to talk about with Dan Ives, right? Because I want to tick through some of these since we have you here in studio. Tesla, are these shareholders going to vote for this huge compensation package November 6th for Elon Musk?
There's a better chance of me not eating chocolate Sour Patch Kids tonight than this thing actually getting voted down. I mean, the point is this thing's getting 100% getting voted for. The reality is that Musk is Tesla, Tesla is Musk. He's a wartime CEO right now. You need him in this AI chapter. And then also I think they're going to vote for the XAI ownership piece, which speaks to Tesla isn't AI in it. It is an autonomous and robotics play. It is not about deliveries, in my opinion. I think that's why this is so important for shareholders when it comes to Musk.
All right, we got to, before we let you go, Happy Valley. Turbulent times in Happy Valley. Penn State, we don't have a coach, but boy, is that a good seat. What do you think Penn State's going to do in terms of hiring a
Look, in my opinion, it's the number, and obviously you can say bias, but I think, especially after the LSU governors thing, I think it's the number one coaching spot in all of college football above Florida. To me, Pat Kraft, there's no better athletic director, I think, right now in the world than him. And I think they're going to go for Elka at Texas A&M. I think you go for Clark Lee at Vanderbilt, Manny Diaz, potentially Braum and others. It's obviously been a very, very disaster year. But it's our view we need the right person to ultimately take us to the next level.